we're getting ready to start qualifying session number 3 for Top Fuel here at the Soboba Casino in San Jacinto, California. Dennis Reich will be over here in the near lane and Marcus Norris over in the far lane. Dennis and the team out of Carlsbad over here up against Marcus Norris, Pat Norris Racing Worldwide Insurance Specialist team. They're giving the signal to start up. Top Fuel coming at you. Good looking run on both sides of the track. 237 on the far side for Marcus Norris, 239 for Dennis Reich. So 237 over here, over on the far side at 164. So 237 at 164 for Marcus Norris, 239 at 151 for Dennis Reich. So a couple of nice laps there for the Top Fuel cars. Nice side-by-side run. I think Norris got to the finish line first with his lap. 237 at 164, big mile an hour for Mr. Marcus Norris. So a couple of good A to B laps for both teams, and they'll be ready for the session tonight. I'm sure both of them are going to be loaded up, trying to run 20s. So it's going to be quite a run there when they come back for the evening session. Oh, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Well, here, wave to everybody, Joey Weaver, J-Dub, as everybody knows him out here. Had quite a tumble on his Pro ATV this morning, so he's A-OK. Took a little trip to the hospital, get some evaluation, and he's all good. So we're happy to see our buddy Joey's okay after that. It was quite a wild ride he had early this morning. We're glad to see him back at the track, hanging out with us. So, Top Fuel third qualifying session is complete for that class, those two cars. So it will be Marcus Norris, the number 1 qualifier, heading into the next session for the 237, and Dennis with his 239, be number 2. The Top Alcohol is coming out next. They're going to groom the track, and I see Mr. Gary Mink rolling up into the lane, so I believe all 4 cars are there and ready to go. And we'll have Top Alcohol back at you here in just a moment. So you're watching the National Sand Drag News live stream presented by Good Vibrations Motorsports. We're at the Soboba Casino in San Jacinto, California for the 2018 SCSDA Hammer Down Nationals. Really nice crowd on both sides of the track, spectator-wise. A lot of folks in here. So tractors are coming back, and we're getting ready for the Top Alcohol class. Right now, your number 1 qualifier is Jim Hammond with a 260. Talked to him this morning, so they found what their issue was yesterday. They had a little spark plug problem. So got some new plugs in her, and hoping to do his normal deal. The Morton team's back at it. David Morton's behind the wheel instead of Jake this weekend. They broke their quill shaft in the blower yesterday on his one attempt. So they got that repaired, and they're in the lanes ready to go. Gary Mink rolled in this afternoon. He's in the lanes, as well as Derek Balkunis with the Larry Minor Motorsports Jeep. So tractor is coming back, getting close, and we'll be ready for Top Alcohol Q3. So really nice turnout of cars this weekend. Like I said, we got the 4 alcohol cars in the lanes. Then we'll go to Top Eliminator. 16 car field this weekend for Top Eliminator. 16 entries on the property. Then we'll go to the Fast Fours, 8 strong this weekend. One of the biggest showings for the Fast Fours class in a long time. And then Pro Mod, 4 entries in that class. So a lot of qualifying ahead as we go through Q3 here at the Soboba Casino in San Jacinto, California. All right, first pair out here in Top Alcohol. It looks like it is going to be David Morton. David will be over here in the near lane for the Morton Racing team. He's behind the wheel this weekend instead of Jake. David with plenty of experience behind the wheel. We saw him run this car for many years, very competitively, before he handed the driving duties over to Jake. So David Morton behind the wheel of the Morton Racing ride will be over here on the near side, up against Jim Hammond in the April's Dream Top Alcohol Drag Shot, Ontario, California. Bob DeVore, the tuner, big part of that team, as well as Brian Suggs and the whole team over there. So these two ran in the final up in, or these two cars ran in the final up in Avenal, with Jake Morton taking the win back in April. So I'm sure both guys are going to be set to try to run somewhere in the high 40s this session. We'll see if they can do that. Like I said, number 1 qualifier right now is 260, so definitely some room for improvement as they get ready for this pass. All right, they're giving the signal start. It's going to be David Morton in the near lane and Jim Hammond in the far lane. So the better of the 2 runs on that one goes to David Morton, 256 at 132 over here in the left lane, 258 over on the far side at 132 for Jim Hammond. So David Morton, 258, David Morton 256, Jim Hammond 258. So that'll go put those two at the top of the list. Jake to number 1, David to number 1, and Jim to number 2. We're ready for the next pair. Top alcohol.
I've got some 50 years. Your turn. You want some? I got it in the bag.
Not right now.
You're looking like that.
Okay, thanks, Jay. Next pair coming around the corner. It's going to be Derek Balkunas over in the near lane here, closest to us. Up against Gary Mink in the Bad to the Bone top alcohol dragster. Derek for the Larry Minor team here in the Hemet area, the Lucas Oil and the whole team there. Up against Gary Mink, the Bad to the Bone out of Fresno. Dan the Man playing his theme song on the PA, the Bad to the Bone for Gary Mink. We'll see what he can do in his first attempt of the weekend. Looks like he's got an interesting new set of tires on the car here. Some staggered bigger diggers. Let's see how those work. So top alcohol qualifying coming up right now with Derek Balkunas and Gary Mink. Derek ran a 277 best yesterday in the Jeep. So here we go with the top alcohol test. Hey Tim, good to see you.
How you doing there?
Yeah. That car ready to go? Yeah, Jimmy was telling me about earlier, the push rods and all that stuff.
One set of rocks on both sides, one set of rollers on one side. Gotcha. Because I'm going up a couple times of push rods.
It happens.
Get squared away.
So Jimmy's going to run a top Eliminator right here? He's going to run an Eliminator and come on?
I don't know.
Okay.
Let's see this thing straight to find out. I said, Dave, has these top end car.
All right, so here we go. Derek Balkunas in the near lane, Gary Mink in the far lane. Looks like it'll be a single run for Gary. Derek having some problems back there. So Gary Mink setting the bar right there. 247 with a 0 at 132. 247 for Gary Mink in the Bad to the Bone top alcohol dragster. Very nice lap. Holding a 1/10 of a second over the field to this point. A 247 with a 0 in the heat of the day here on Saturday afternoon. Quite a run for Gary Mink. Yeah, it looked like Gary really hooked hard at the hit and pulled good to the finish line.
Fucking low, man. Well, we're here. So
That's right. All right, so here comes Derek Balkunis in the Larry Minor Motorsports Jeep. Derek Balkunis, 283 at 122. 283, 122 for Derek. So no improvement on his earlier 277 from yesterday. So after three qualifying sessions for Top Alcohol, your number one qualifier is Gary Mink at 247. David Morton's number 2 at 256. Jim Hammond, number 3 at 258. And Derek Balkunis, number 4 at 283. So we are at the Soboba Casino in San Jacinto, California for the 2018 SCSDA Hammerdown Nationals. You're watching the National Sandbag News live stream presented by Good Vibrations Motorsports. Big thank you to the Good Vibrations Motorsports crew for all their support here in the 2018 season. Be sure to go to goodvibesracing.com and be sure to follow them at Good Vibrations Motorsports on Facebook. High performance mail order, lots of great parts, the largest selection of Enderley fuel injection products in stock. So be sure to go to goodvibesracing.com. Check out all that they have to offer.
I didn't want to bother you. I can see you were.
So we are in the middle of the third qualifying session for most of these categories, but coming up next will be Top Eliminator. This will be their fourth and final qualifying round of the weekend. Your number one qualifier is Paul Taylor at 295 with a 0. Number 2 is Russ Bailey at 295 with a 1. And your number 3 qualifier is Paul Graham at a 296. So Paul Taylor has put down 2 amazing runs this weekend. He ran last night the perfect 295 with a 0. And then he followed that up in the last session earlier today with a 295 with a 3. So Paul and the Out of Control team have got the car really dialed in. Nice 16 car field this weekend for Top Eliminator. So I believe Jimmy DePass just entered in it, so he's going to be the 16th car. We'll see him go down the track here in just a little bit. So he'll be in Top Eliminator and Pro Mod. So tractor's coming back, and we'll be at it with Top Eliminator, final qualifying session. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I apologize if I'm not able to see the comments. It's extremely sunny here. It's a little hard to see the screen. Trying to keep the phone shaded as much as possible. We had a little overheating issue last time when we did the Top Eliminator qualifying session, but we should be okay this time around. Really good crowd here this weekend, spectator-wise. It's pretty crowded over here on this side of the track. A lot of spectators up along the fence line. And on the other side, as you can see, under all the tents, it's been a pretty good crowd all day over there. There's a really nice vendor area back there. It's been real busy selling a lot of food vendors. The LCA roofing company back there, they're actually the ones that made that nice roof on the announcer Dan's perch over there on the other side. They did a nice job on that. But anyways, they have a nice display over there as well. So yeah, a lot of nice displays over there. I believe Wes Johnson Snap-on has a setup over there with one of his race Jeeps. But yeah, we're getting ready. Top Eliminator coming at you next. 295 index. I want to run as close to 295 index as possible without going quicker. Alright, first pair is started up. Looks like it's going to be Glenn Hickey out of Vegas in the Hickey Racing blown small block dragster. First time out with this dragster. Made a pretty nice lap last time. He had to pedal it a couple times. It'll be interesting to see what kind of number he puts down. A full pass. He'll be up against Mark Puños, also out of Las Vegas, the Fast Track Construction team. So Glenn Hickey near lane, Mark Puños in the far lane. Glenn Hickey, 317 over here on the near side. Really nice first full lap for that car. 323 for Mark Puños over on the far side. So Glenn Hickey, 317. Mark Puños, 323. Numbers on that pass. Hickey team was quite excited. First full pass for that car. All right, next pair is coming up. Looks like it's going to be Wes Gilmore. Wes in the blown Jeep. We're in a 325 weekend best so far in his first run. He'll be over here in the near lane, and he will be against Terry Crawford. Terry, the Yabba Dabba Doo out of Vegas. Terry ran a nice 302 off the trailer in the last session. We'll see if he can improve here and move up the qualifying order. That's a 306 for Terry Crawford on the far side. So about 400ths off of his earlier pass. 306. 321 for Wes Gilmore, his quickest run of the weekend so far. So 306 for Terry Crawford, 321 for Wes Gilmore. That's right around Gilmore's quickest run in the Jeep. I believe he ran like an 18 or a 19 with it. So nice 321 lap in the heat of the day for Wes Gilmore. Should move him up a little bit in the qualifying order. And the next pair has started up. It'll be Vicky Hall in the Farmer's Twisted Daughter dragster out of Bosque Farms, New Mexico. And she will be up against Ron Diartney in the Red Warrior. Ron with the Hemi Power over here in the near lane will be up against Vicky Hall in the small block dragster. Ron looking to move up in the order. His run on the sheet is 330. He broke out with a 290 last round, so we'll see if they back it down a little bit. Vicky Hall, 296 with an 8. So 296 with an 8 for Vicky over on the far side. She'll move up to number 4 in the qualifying order. 294 with a 6 for Ron Diartney. So another breakout for Ron. 294 with a 6, so he'll be in on his 330 qualifying lap from yesterday. Going quicker than the 295 class index. So 296 with an 8 for Vicky Hall. Move her up to the number 4 spot in the qualifying order. Her best of the weekend. She had run a 301 before that and a couple breakout passes. So it's going to be Paul Taylor still number 1, Russ Bailey 2, and Paul Graham sitting number 3 as we continue on with this round of qualifying. So we're here at the Soboba Casino in San Jacinto, California for the 2018 SCSDA Hammer Down Nationals. You're watching the National Sandbag News live stream presented by Good Vibrations Motorsports. Be sure to go to goodvibesracing.com as well as visit at Good Vibrations Motorsports on Facebook. They not only sell the parts, but they use them. Good Vibrations Motorsports team just clinched the 2018 SIFCA Funny Car Championship last weekend. So congratulations to James and Jim and the whole Marr family there on their championship season. So they definitely a great representation for the parts that they sell. Got a nice crowd here at the Soboba Casino. Temperature probably right around 90 degrees right now. High was supposed to be somewhere between 80 and 90 today. Nice cross breeze across the track at our backs. Kind of helping it from feeling like it's really hot, so. Conditions tomorrow are supposed to be about exactly the same as today, so this is going to be a good data for tuning tomorrow when we get into eliminations in these categories. looks like our next pair out is going to be Craig Brewster. Craig should be over here in the near lane. And it looks like he'll be up against Paul Taylor in the out-of-control dragster. Craig, the racer from Washington, keeps his team based in Central California. And he's had quite a rookie season this year. Had Joe Betancourt help him with the tune-up over there. Davey Motorsports. Definitely, Craig's definitely done a great job behind the wheel this season. Got the runner-up finish up in Avenal at our last event. And Craig will be lined up against Mr. Perfect, Paul Taylor, your number one qualifier with that perfect 295 with a 0 lap from last night. So Paul Taylor in the out-of-control team. Paul had a good outing back in May at Lemoore Sand Drags. Had a little 3-car top eliminator show where Paul took the win. Gave him some good confidence heading into the fall season. Put down some nice 296 laps there, so. So here they come, Craig Brewster in the near lane and Paul Taylor in the far lane. So Paul Taylor does not run a 295 this time, but he runs a 297. So a nice lap for Paul there. 297 with a 1. Craig Brewster goes 3 flat, 300 with an 8. So Craig Brewster's been awful consistent. 301, 301, and 300, his numbers, the last 3 passes. And obviously Paul Taylor, extremely consistent with his 295, pair of 295s and a 97. Next pair out, it will be Paul Graham in the excavator. He'll be in the near lane. He'll be up against Damon Hall. Damon in the cranky Fiat. Making the trip in from New Mexico. Damon and his wife Vicky. We saw Vicky run a nice 296 a few minutes ago. So Damon Hall far lane, Paul Graham near lane. Wow. Wild ride for Damon Hall over in the far lane. He got real close to the wall. Did a nice job to save it. 298 over here in the near lane for Paul Graham. So Paul Graham's also been right on the number with a pair of 96s and now a 98. But yeah, Damon Hall had quite a wild ride over on the far side. He went pretty hard to the right, got over real close to the wall, but got it steered away from the wall nicely, and everything's A-okay. So he'll be ready to come back for the next session later on. For first round tomorrow. So that's going to be, what are we at, 5 pairs? So we have 5 more cars left to go down the track in this session. Looks like Damon stopped a little short down there, so they're going to pull him off and get ready for the next pair. Great to see Damon laying down some really good laps in the cranky this weekend. He ran a best of 3:03 in the last round. He had a really good looking run in the session last night where he ran a 3:07 when the car didn't shift. That would have easily been in the 290 range. So hopefully he can keep it straight in eliminations tomorrow and get that elusive first 2-second run for the cranky Fiat. All right, looks like they're going to clean the track. We got 2 pairs and a bye left, 5 cars left in this class, so we're going to clean it back up and be back with some more top eliminator action. Well, maybe a change of plans there. Looks like we're going to run that next pair. All right, next pair is coming out. It's going to be Tristan Graham over here in the near lane and Larry Snow over in the far lane. So Tristan Graham's best of the weekend so far is a 3:17. Larry Snow's best is a 3:08. numbers on that one. It was a 317 for Larry Snow over on the far side, 329 for Tristan Graham in the near lane. So no improvement for either of those guys as they make their last shot before elimination starts tomorrow afternoon. Should have a couple more pairs back in the lanes to finish out this session at top eliminator. Paul Taylor still number one at 295.0. Russ Bailey still two at 295.1. Paul Graham 3 at 296.8, and Vicky Hall bumped up to number 4 with a 296.8 this session. So you are watching the National Sandbag News live stream presented by Good Vibrations Motorsports. We're at the Soboba Casino in San Jacinto, California for the 2018 SCSDA Hammer Down Nationals. Excellent crowd of racers out here this weekend. We saw a lot of action in the sportsman bracket classes this morning. Kenny Hayes took the win in... It was Chris Wells that took the win in Sportsman 1 over Kenny Hayes. Great final round matchup between those two racers. Sportsman 2, Ron Hess took the win over Jack Weddle. Ron's got that cool Mad Mouse little Anglia deal. Very cool car. I believe that's his first win in the car, so that was really neat to see. Robert Garnis took the win in Motorcycle Sport 1 over Caleb Mings. And Cameron Lunsford got the Motorcycle Sport 2 win over Marcus Rydell. The Pro Gambler bracket cars, they made their 2 time shots just a little while ago, and they're getting ready to head into first round of eliminations in just a little bit. And then once that is done, we'll be back for the final qualifying session for the Top Fuel, Top Alcohol, Fast Fours, and Pro Mod cars later on this evening. And then tomorrow we'll have to start off with the juniors at 9 a.m. Then we got the motorcycle pro bracket classes. They'll be on track. And then at high noon, we'll kick off with eliminations in the top field class. We'll be sure to tune in tomorrow at high noon. Got some kind of cool stuff in the works for the pre-race ceremony tomorrow. So we'll see that. Probably we'll go live about 5 to noon tomorrow. Be pretty neat. Well, the tractor is coming back, and we'll be ready to finish off the session in top eliminator. Looks like Bill Peterson will be coming out next in the Villain. He's in at a 299 best for the weekend. I believe he's your number 5 qualifier currently. So the Villain team has improved a lot over the last couple races. He actually broke out with a 287 on the last pass. Quickest run to date with that car, so they're definitely figuring out that program. So Peterson will be up against Jimmy DePass. Jimmy DePass is going to run the Otis Express Jeep in top eliminator this weekend. This is his first pass in TE trim. it looks like Jimmy DePass will be here in the near lane and Bill Peterson in the far lane. Couple of breakout passes there. 290 over here in the near lane for Jimmy DePass, and a 291 for Bill Peterson. So 290 for Jimmy DePass here in the near lane with the Jeep. 291 for Bill Peterson. So Peterson will stand on his earlier 299 lap. The pass, he's going to have to go in at the bottom of the ladder here. 290, quicker than the 295 index in this class, so he will be your number 16 qualifier going into first round tomorrow. So he'll have to face off with your number 1 qualifier, Paul Taylor, in round 1. So we'll see what's coming up next. Looks like that's it for this round in Eliminator. We'll see. Looks like we may be going to Pro Mod right now. Looks like it's going to be Dave Huffman and Nick Schultzman going to make their Pro Mod passes right now. So we are at the Soboba Casino in San Jacinto, California, the 2018 SCSDA Hammer Down Nationals. Finishing up this qualifying session for the heads-up categories. And it's going to be Nick Schultzman, the Wheelie King out of Vegas, be here in the near lane in his altered. And he'll be up against Dave Huffman. Dave in the H&M Jeep. Huffman is crew chief Jim DePass on that ride. Be over on the far side. Sounds like Dave Huffman ran 3:04 over on the far side. 3:04 for Dave Huffman. Scoreboard didn't refresh on that one, so I was trying to listen and hear what he ran. Nick Schultzman looked like he had no chance break there, so he rolled right through the beams. And no time for Nick. Let's go back and get that figured out for the next round. All right, it's time for the Fast Fours class. 8 cars here this weekend for the 4-cylinder category. We had 7 make a pass yesterday. The Skidmore team rolled in this morning. So they're ready to get after it for battle here in the Fast Fours category. Adam Rowe is your number 1 qualifier currently with his 266 yesterday. 1,000th of a second off of his current national record in that class. Mario Tavares sitting number 2 at a 279. And Art Conan sitting 3 at a 284. So it looks like our first pair out, it's going to be like Robert Skidmore's at the front of the lanes. And I believe he's going to be running against Daniel King. What it looks like from here anyways. But yes, we are at the Soboba Casino, San Jacinto, California for the 2018 SCSDA Hammer Down Nationals. You're watching the National Sandbag News live stream presented by Good Vibrations Motorsports. I'll give a big shout out to all of our friends there at Good Vibrations Motorsports for all their support this season. They're the presenting sponsor of the NSDN live stream. Be sure to go to goodvibesracing.com, sign up for the catalog, as well as browse everything that they have on their website. Lots of great parts and pieces. We also want to thank all of our sponsors for the NSDN coverage for this weekend's event. Southern California OTR Recycling, Mr. Greg Tunget. He's got both of his Jeeps out here this weekend. He's got Scott driving his Dune Jeep and Greg behind the wheel of his race Jeep. We also want to thank the Southern California Sandbag Association, Mike and Terry and the whole crew. They do a phenomenal job putting on these events. With the track crew, race director Chachi Zavala, and Mike and Shannon in the race control trailer, Mario and his crew with the helping with the electronic stuff. Craig in the lanes, lots of great folks that make this event happen. So we got to thank Fast Track Construction out of Vegas, Mr. Mark Munoz, one of our sponsors of the daily race coverage, as well as Kevin Williams Racing. See Kevin out here in his orange Jeep, as well as Mark Ratliff from MPC Racing. Hammer Down Racing, Mr. Dennis Wright. I think our friends at Morris Family Racing, Rick, Billy, Shelly, and the whole Morris clan. Wish them luck as they get ready for the California Hot Rod Reunion with their Problem Child Funny Car in a couple weeks. Also got to thank our friends Todd and Trisha Kinney at Rialto Trophy for all of their great support. Just had one heck of a flyby right there. Look up in the air. Quite a show being put on there by the guy piloting that plane. Well, at a sand drag race and an air show breaks out. All right, well, the tractors are back. We're ready for some Fast Fours action. This is their third qualifying session of the weekend. They'll have one more later on. There goes the plane. Just never know what you're going to see at the Soboba Casino for the SCSDA events. All right, Daniel King coming out next. He'll be in the near lane. And he will be up against Robert Skidmore. Skidmore just rolled in this morning. This is his first attempt of the weekend. Daniel King sitting number 4 on the qualifying sheet with a 287 yesterday. Not sure what happened there in that one. It looked like Robert Skidmore had a stage foul over on the far side. He flickered the lights and starter dropped the tree. And he was red. Daniel King. Not sure what Daniel ran. The scoreboard didn't refresh on this side, so we're not sure what his ET is. It looked like he had some issues and shut off early, so definitely didn't look like an improvement on his 87 from yesterday. The next pair has started. And it is going to be Mario Tavares in the Potter entry. Beautiful dragster. This car's got a lot of detail in the paintwork on it. He'll be up against Adam Rowe. So Mario with the San Diego-based team and Adam Rowe coming in from Michigan, over in the Detroit area. Adam, his dad Daryl, and Scott making the trip in. .266 with a 4. 266 with a 4, right on top of his current world record. 266 with a 4 at 115. So he was even down on mile an hour from what he normally runs, and still runs a 266 with a 4. Mario Tavares in the far lane looked like he rolled the beams and got out of it early. But another amazing pass for Adam Rowe, 266 with a 4. Improved on his run from yesterday by 1,000th of a second. I'm sure he's going to be itching to get out here for the final session coming up later this evening. All right, 2 more pairs left. We're getting a little low on battery, so hopefully it will stay live for these last 2. We should have 2 more pairs coming up here for Fast Fours. So once again, we're at the Soboba Casino in San Jacinto, California for the 2018 SCSDA Hammer Down Nationals. You're watching the National Sand Drag News live stream presented by Good Vibrations Motorsports. Shout out to all the folks that make our coverage happen at each event. So a big thank you to everybody that chips in to ensure this coverage of sand drag racing. Alright, so I believe we got 2 pairs of Fast Fours cars left. Looks like Derek Balkunis is back in the lanes, maybe for his pro mod lap. So we still got a few more passes here before we jump off the live stream for a little bit. Yep, definitely a big shout out to Connor and Andrew watching the road team from back home in Michigan. Yeah, Adam's definitely been making some really great laps with that dragster. We should see Daryl up here in just a moment with the buggy. tractor is coming back, and we'll be ready for some more Fast Fours qualifying here at the Soboba Casino in San Jacinto, California. Looks like Daryl Rose coming out next. And Daryl will be up against Lance K out of Hawaii and the Crazy Coconut Dragster. Crazy Coconut Dragster looks familiar. It was the old Brian Chapman short fuse car. Really a neat ride. Up against Daryl Rose, your A-Buggy world record holder. 289 is the number. He's looking to try to better that this weekend. His first pass yesterday looked like it would have been real close to that number. But we'll see what he can do right here. Pelted with some dirt here as Daryl Rowe goes 301. Like he pedaled it several times and still ran a 301. 313 for Lance over on the far side. That's the quickest run of the weekend for Lance, 313. But 301, another improvement for Daryl as well. Daryl's car launched really hard and then it started to move right and he pedaled it. So he got a little crazy on the other end, but Daryl did a nice job of driving as always and kept it under control. So it looks like Art Cronin's coming out next in the Cronin Racing 4-cylinder dragster. And it appears Art may be by himself here. Doesn't look like Sally Rasmussen made it up this round to make a pass. She made a run earlier today, test hit. Put on another nice 3-0 lap. Like Art Cronin had a little issue there off the line. Didn't quite build RPM like they had hoped, so not a representative lap. They'll go back and get everything straightened out. We'll be back for the session later on tonight in a couple hours. So be sure to stay tuned. We'll be back for the final qualifying session in a little bit. That's it for now, guys. You've been watching the National Sand Drag News live stream presented by Good Vibrations Motorsports. We'll be back with more action here from the Soboba Casino in San Jacinto, California in just a little while. Thanks, guys, for tuning in.